That means it's just Zoom.
Zoom,
Okay.
only
Yeah.
Zoom without Facebook. Huh?
Yes. Okay. Live.
Okay, shall we start?
Yes. Live
3
ready.
o'clock already.
Yes.
Okay.
Live ready. Let's
I think we should wait
get
for
the participants to come in.
first. Yeah.
You can see 38, 41, 34, 53. 60, 70, 79, 82, 82 only, 83, 84, 86,
We reach 100, I
87,
think we can start.
89, yeah, we got a rate for 100 plus, 89, still coming. I think sometimes logging in got problem. 92 now, 93, 93, 96, 97, 96, 97, 98,
Okay.
99, 99, 101.
I think we can. Yeah.
Wai Ling, when do we want to start? Huh?
We can greet the participants coming in already.
Okay, okay, all right. Okay, all right. Are we on live now?
Yes, we are
Yes.
live now. Yes.
Good afternoon, fellow practitioners and members of the public, if any. How are you all today? I'm Kelvin Saw, the host for this seminar. Welcome to this afternoon's MEAS series of webinar presented by a seasoned and well-known speaker by now, Ms. Chan Ai Ching, who do not need any introduction, but I will still give a short introduction of her for those participants who are new, first time attending our program. Ai Ching is the president-elect of MEA from 2019 to 2021. She's also a board member of the Board of Valuers, Appraisals, Estate Agents, and Property Managers Malaysia 2019 to 2021. That's the terms of appointment. She's also the General Manager of SK Brothers Realty Malaysia Sdn Bhd, a real estate agency since 1979. She has been in the real estate industry since 1999. Okay, today's paper presented by Ai Ching is MEAS Part 3, Terms of Engagement and Advertising and Marketing. This is the book, if you all can see. Okay, this MEAS. During question time, please type at the Q&A box instead of the chat box, so that it's easier to manage the questions, which will be replied efficiently and accordingly. Looking at both boxes can be confusing for the participants too. Without further ado, over to you now, Ai Ching.
Okay, thank you, Kelvin. Thanks, and welcome everyone to today's Part 3 series of the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards. I think it's very important that that we're doing this series, because in addition to wanting to make more money through getting more sales and leads and things like that, it's also important that we must maintain professionalism. Are you all having problems hearing me? I think it's okay, right? Okay,
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Professionalism and all that is also very important in order to maintain a long-term presence in this business. You see, in any business that we do, it's very important that whatever we do, we're in it for the long run. If we're in it for the long run, right, real estate is that kind of business to us. The initial years could be the years of sowing and sowing and all that. But the real reaping comes as you are longer and longer in the profession. And when more and more people know about you, they know about your reputation. And this is where the MEAS becomes very important. The professional standards you set for yourself and the professional standards set by the industry itself, so that you can, you can have that long-term business career in real estate. Okay, without any further delay, let me get straight into my slide. Okay, all right. Okay, so Malaysian Estate Agency Standards, 3rd edition 2020. Okay, all right, let's go right into it. Okay, so as an introduction, I think I covered this in the previous 2 sessions, but I'll cover it again for those who are joining us for the first time. Basically, these are, whatever you see on the screen right now, is what governs the real estate profession, okay? One of them, of course, the main thing is the Act 242, which is over here. The rules, 1986, which comes together with the Act. The standards, the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards, which is what we're talking about today, being the 3rd edition in the year 2020. And of course, in addition to these 3, there will be occasional circulars, directives, or guidelines issued by the board that we also need to comply by. So I always look at it as these 4 things: the Act, the rules, the standards, the circulars, directives, and guidelines. I put it all under one. Okay, so today we're talking about the standards, and what has happened is that under this category, under the red color, we have covered in our first session on the estate agency office, the negotiators, and the types of estate agency engagement. We covered the standard 4 on estate agency fees last week on Friday. For those who missed, you can scroll back to that date to get the video. And so today we're going to cover on standard number 5 and standard number 6, which is on terms of engagement and advertising and marketing. Okay, we'll see how far we get. All right, so the first thing we want to know is that, the first thing to note is that between the old MEAS and the new revised MEAS, there's not much difference in this particular section. But it's good that I highlight some of the key points that were existing in both, but perhaps some of us may have forgotten, or we need some refresher lah. Okay, so basically the terms of engagement is very important, because within the terms of engagement is where is written our scope of authority, or what we can, what we are engaged to do, and what we are engaged to sell at, or we are engaged to rent at, or what is our the way we're supposed to work. Is it on an exclusive basis or in an ad hoc basis, or what? So when it comes to terms of engagement, it's very important that it must be very precise. It should not be ambiguous. That means, am I appointed? Am I engaged or am I not? Or am I engaged at this price, or or is it that price? Or is it the engagement is exclusive, or is it a sole, or is it ad hoc? No, there shouldn't be any ambiguity in the terms of engagement when the client engages us for our services, okay? And very important, upon receiving the terms of engagement, that we need to get as much information from the client as possible with regards to the property. And this is what we call, especially if you're reading the last line of 5.1.2, the firm shall take all reasonable steps to ensure pertinent facts concerning the property are well within its knowledge. Okay. This section here is very important, because sometimes there could be certain things that we did not ask the owner, we did not ask the seller about, that later could become a problem, because it would have seemed that we have concealed some very important facts about the property that if the buyer knew, he may not have offered, or he may not have purchased, or something could have happened. The safety of the people who subsequently bought and live in could be in jeopardy. So I think it's very important that they highlighted here under MEAS that we must take reasonable steps to ensure pertinent facts. Pertinent facts are within our knowledge. Okay, so sometimes the question is, what is pertinent facts? Yeah, so pertinent facts, they say pertinent means, of course, pertinent means relating to the matter at hand. So I took this definition out of one of those online dictionary guides. So pertinent, which is so decisively or significantly relevant it touches on the point or at issue or contributes materially to the understanding of what's in discussion or to the solution of that which is in question. A material fact is in real estate is defined as a fact that, if known, might cause a buyer or seller of a real estate to make a different decision with regards to remaining in a contract or to the price paid or received. So, okay, sometimes people say that what kind of facts is pertinent facts? Okay, I think very simple. In the MEAS, under the form section, there is what they call the listing fact sheet. Okay, so under the listing fact sheet, these are the items that what we call are the facts of the property. Okay, sometimes are very simple things. Facts, the owner told you that the property is 24 by 75, right? He said it. But you as the professional, you as the practicing person and giving your advice to the client or to the subsequent buyer, you will need to verify whether indeed that property is 24 by 75. Because there have been cases before where the owner told maybe the owner also was not aware, or maybe it was a slip of the, slipped and said that it was 24 by 75, but actually the property was 22 by 75. Imagine if you transacted that property to a buyer, and later on when the buyer did a title search and found out, hey, it's 22.75. Hey, what is going to happen now? So it's very important that the facts of the property is accurately documented. And this is where we need to verify. So that's why in the forms, it's also important for us to verify the title, the copy of the title, and whatever other relevant things to cross-check the information that has been shared. So when it comes to the listing form, even leasehold and freehold for that matter, sometimes it could really be mixed up. Maybe the owner just has so many properties, they couldn't remember this particular property, what were the particulars in so detail. So we will need, as the real estate agent engaged to do the job, we need to make sure that we get the right facts. Okay, so this will be a good guide. It's actually a A4 size, but I split it into 2 slides so that the words are a bit bigger, that you can see that what are some of the items that has been indicated. Okay, there are also some other matters like some people will say that what about defects? The defects of the property. Sometimes as an agent, when we go in there, we do not know whether there was a defect. Maybe things like leaking. Maybe it was covered up, we're not sure. Or whether there was some issue with the foundation, or there was some issue with the roof, because maybe there's a white ant infestation or things like that. So to what extent are we supposed to know or not know, or to what extent the owner is supposed to let us know what is wrong with the property and what we can find out? So I always look at it this way. We may not know everything, but it's very important that if the owner must disclose to us, or we must check with the owner whether there are any defects that could possibly threaten a person's health or safety. I think one of the main things is actually the white ants, because if they eat into the roof structure or something like that, the whole roof could collapse and kill the person in the property. So this kind of information must be disclosed. Okay, so anyway, I just put in some notes for you all to read over there. What is the difference? What is latent defect and what is the material fact? And of course, in the next few MEAS, there'll be a discussion. There'll be a topic on viewing, and whether certain material facts would be, are we supposed to disclose? Like, for instance, some people may say that the property is haunted. Okay, so is that something we're going to tell the buyer that's going to buy, or do we withhold this kind of information? Is it a material fact? Or is it a pertinent fact for that matter? But whatever it is, we will discuss this in the next, probably in the next 2 sessions of the MEAS. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so now coming to the statements of the standards. It's mentioned in the MEAS that you can actually be engaged verbally or in writing. But I highlighted writing because I mentioned verbally before. Verbally is like, she said, he said, you said, everybody's saying, and then at the end of the day, and then whether there were any witnesses of this being said, it's too questionable. So everything, have it in writing. It's important that in writing can be in 2 ways. It either the client issues you an engagement letter with the terms and conditions in it, or it could be you using your forms and then you get the client to agree to it. So basically, there's just two ways of this engagement. Okay, so either it's from the client, as in 5.2.2.1, or confirmed by the client in 5.2.2.2. All right, okay. It's very important that in the terms of engagement, that there are a few very important points that must be indicated in the engagement letter or an agreement. Number one is the firm's name. The client must be appointing the firm. The client is not appointing an individual. Yeah. So because under the act and the rules and the standards and everything, an estate agent by himself cannot operate. He must operate together with a firm. So that means if he's the only person that is doing the business, and he's the only person in his so-called company, then he registers a sole proprietor. Okay, that doesn't mean that a sole proprietor cannot have negotiators. He can as well. Okay, so it depends. Whatever the formula, be it a sole proprietor partnership, limited liability partnership, or a body corporate, the client is engaging the firm, okay, and not an individual. So the firm's name must be clearly stated. A clear identification of the subject property. Yes, you are hereby engaged to sell my property addressed at XX Jalan XXX, 46300 Petaling Jaya. Clear identification. Okay, and terms and condition of the engagement will usually mean whether they are appointed as an exclusive agent or whether you are appointed as a ad hoc agent or things like that, and what's your terms, meaning when is the duration and things like that. And the intended transaction, number 4, is what he wanted to do. He wants you to find a buyer, or he wants you to find a tenant, or he wants you to find a buyer that will, but will let him continue to stay on in the property on a lease arrangement. Whatever the case may be, that would be the intended transaction. So remember the 4 things. In your listing form, you should already have that. But if the client were to issue you an engagement letter, make sure that these 4 items are clearly stated. Okay, so after that's signed and done, then if there is any variations, okay, what could be a possible variation? The simplest would be pricing. If let's say today he wanted to sell 1 million, so he engaged you to sell the property at 1 million. A month later, he thought about it and he said, yeah, maybe 1 million, I'm overpricing the property. I want to revise it to 950. So where is that 950 written, right? Is it verbally only? And verbal is very dangerous. When you finally found him a buyer at 950, you may say, no, I engaged you at 1 million. And then how are you going to do that transaction? So it's very important that whatever variations is agreed by the client and somehow documented in some form of a written format. So some people may say, WhatsApp, is it okay? Email, is it okay? As long as there is some written communication of this, I believe it is, it is strong enough. Okay. All estate agencies are encouraged to use the board standard forms. Okay, the standard forms that they're referring to is actually at the back of the MEAS book under the forms and that section at the end, which I'll also show you towards the next few series of the MEAS. Yeah, but you are encouraged to use it. That doesn't mean you have to use it, because I've seen a lot of firms have customized to their own, added in some additional clauses to further tighten up the conditions that they want to be engaged on, which I think is a good point. So use that as the base, improve on it. Okay. Of course, Rule 97 also says that the estate agency firm shall not, if already you know that another estate agency has been exclusively engaged, to go and solicit for the same business. I believe there's so many properties out there available for sale. We don't need to just fight over, it would seem that way, over one listing. Yeah. And I think the market is so big and the business is so large that, and co-agency now is such a big thing that everyone is practicing, in fact, most of the time these days. Don't do this. I mean, if you do it, then you only create negative feedback about yourself. And in future, when people want to work with you, they would not, because they would want to work with people who are professionally, trained, to a certain extent, are professional in their manner of dealing. So you can always, during that time, if you know that that agent has already been engaged on an exclusive basis, just wait out the exclusivity or work together with the exclusive agent and close the deal. Because you never know, today he has the exclusive. Tomorrow you could have an exclusive of a property that he will want to co-agent with you. So I think we should have a long-term thinking. That's why I opened this session today with a long-term thinking in mind. Because if we have a long-term thinking in mind, we won't think to do this, to shortcut here, to try and dig a deal there, try to, do things like, no. I think long-term mentality, okay? And the difference between the previous MEAS and the current one is actually 5.2.6.2. Okay, this section reads, accept terms of engagement without written confirmation from the client that the client has not engaged any other estate agency firm on an exclusive or sole agency basis. Okay, on the very first session that I conducted, the MEAS, one of the Q&A was, what happens if an owner engaged 10 agents on an exclusive basis? Okay, of course, there has been some situations like that because it's not the fault of the owner that he wanted to engage 10 exclusive agents. He just didn't know that when he appointed the agent, he appointed exclusively. Perhaps he was just blur. We're not too sure. But there was actually a case that this particular owner engaged a few agents on an exclusive basis and not knowing. So what this clause actually was put in is because of this scenario. So what happened is that when you want to take an exclusive, you must get the client to agree, to confirm that he has not appointed another agent on an exclusive basis. He could have forgotten, so you might have to, have you spoken to any other agents regards to this matter? Did you sign any document or that the agent has presented and things like that? Try to find out, because if he has already signed an exclusive, then you will have to wait out, or you will have to work with the exclusive agent on a co-agency. Okay, so this is something new, 5.2.6.2. Yeah, just to confirm that the client has not engaged another firm on an exclusive basis. Okay, all right, I think the rest are the same, except that there was a new section placed in 5.2.8, where it says all agency engagement shall specify the period of validity of the engagement. We covered this under the exclusive terms of the previous type of estate agency engagement before, that all of our engagements must specify a period. That means, is it 90 days? Is it 120 days? Is it 60 days? Whatever the case may be, specify the period of validity. Of course, I think some people may be cleverly written there and say that until the property is sold. Okay, well, in a way, that is that I've seen some engagement letters like that before. But it's good that we specify a period of time. And after all, you need to get in touch with the client every now and then anyway. So it's a good time that you use that as an excuse to renew your appointment, your engagement, and chit chat with the client, and maybe get them to revise certain things, perhaps the pricing or their offering and things like that. Okay, of course, 5.2.9 is not removed. It was there in the previous MEAS. It's still in the current. You cannot harass any person to gain instructions. You cannot annoy an owner to engage you as an agent. Okay, no harassment at all. Later, they will define further what it is. Okay, all right. Under 5.2.10, if the client withdraws his term of engagement of the firm, okay, so it is our duty as the firm to advise the client that, okay, because I don't know, for whatever reason, during this period of time, I have already introduced this client to this property, and we have seen the property. They have all seen the property together. So if he were to subsequently buy, you will have to pay me my fees. But maybe during that time, he has appointed another agent perhaps on an exclusive basis. So now how? Does he pay that agent and pay me at the same time? Or is there a probability of any continuing liability on the client? So this must be carefully explained to the client so that he is aware of the circumstances of his actions. Okay. And 5.2.11, this one is a little bit controversial, some people might say. An estate agent shall not give an opinion of value of a property in order to obtain an engagement. I don't believe we are giving, estate agent as a general rule, we are not allowed to write and say that, okay, in my opinion, the property price for SS2 is 1.2 million, whatever, okay? And based on, and then because of that quotation or price you gave, your opinion of the price, of the value, the owner engaged you on that. I don't think I've seen, I've not seen that that kind of letter personally. I don't believe we as estate agents are doing this sort of opinion of value matter. But more often than not, I'm seeing estate agents using the JPPH or NAPIC reports, transacted properties, the CMA, to actually show the client, okay, these are the transacted properties in the area. I believe your property is pretty close to this one, and they were tagging at this price. I think the recommended pricing would be this price to put into the market. Okay, I think that is totally fine. Yeah, the comparative market analysis. Okay, we need to guide the owner in order to make a better, a more informed decision on the pricing that he should be pricing to put the property into the market. But by no means is that recommendation giving an opinion of value. Okay. Yeah, no, we don't give any opinions of value. We gave based on facts and transacted values. Okay, nothing much is written here. The explanation is basically to say that you can be engaged either on a written terms engaged from the client, or you are the one who gave the terms to the client for him to agree. Okay, so this further reinforces the particular statement. Written terms of engagement from the client and written confirmation of the terms engagement by the estate agent. Two different methods explained further. Okay, same thing also. This one is also it's the same thing repeated in 5.3.3, and 5.3.4 was another addition, another explanation to the definition of harass, which I mentioned. You cannot harass someone to give you the listing. So you cannot threaten them, or cause annoyance or distress or any form of fear among the poor owner out there. Okay, so now that we have finished the section on the terms of engagement, we'll move on to advertising and marketing. All right, okay. So on advertising and marketing, very importantly, whatever advertising we want to do must be tastefully, professionally, and with no misrepresentation and not mislead. Okay, let me go to just the tastefully and professionally. It's very important that when we come out with a flyer or an advertisement or a message that we want, a flyer or whatever it is that we want to send to our client, it must look professionally done. I mean, gone are the days where we just write, stick some photograph and then snapshot. No, we now use apps. We use, in one of my sessions that I shared earlier, we use online platforms that gives you customized designs or flyers. You don't have to crack your head now and think how you want to come up with a design. All you need to do is replace the pictures with your picture, replace the description with the description of the property you want, and voila, you already have a very tasteful and professional looking material to be sent out to your clients. And I think not only is this expected of us now, it's very important that we project the right image to our clients. So when we project the right image to our client and customers out there, they will also view us differently and treat us differently. Yeah, we are a professional. We are in a professional business, and therefore, when we show our work is well done, we will get the similar respect from our client and customers. I think that's the reason why this particular standard is placed in, not to control how you do marketing and advertising, but to make sure that certain things are in there to ensure that you get a reciprocal respect from the client and customers. Okay, no misrepresentation. Okay, what is misrepresentation? Misrepresentation means something not true about the property. It could be you were not sure about a particular subject matter. Maybe you misrepresented and said that, oh, the property was freehold, but actually it was leasehold, or whatever the case may be. And the mislead part, and must not mislead the public. Mislead is usually caused by exaggeration, most of the time. So you mislead the person into thinking that the property was perhaps, the property was better than it was, or is worse than it was. Okay, whatever the case may be. Remember, advertising must be tastefully, professionally, no misrepresentation, and not to mislead the public as to the facts of the property. Okay, so we must make sure that the whole idea behind it is to goodwill, to maintain goodwill with the public and not to cause harm by our advertising. That definitely must be with good taste. All right, move on quickly along. Okay, responsible, accurate, and not sensational in content. Okay, this part of it, some people say, what does it mean by not sensational in content? Over exaggeration. You can highlight a particular point, excellent location is fine. Not overly sensational. Okay, and under 6.2.2, I highlighted in blue because this is a recent amendment. Any form of advertisement in any media, whether in the mass media, electronic, digital, or mobile media, shall comply with the following conditions. So they're basically, it basically covers whatever form of advertising you want to do, online, offline, or whatever the case may be, all has to comply with the following conditions. Okay, which I'll list it down right now. Okay, very important is, number 1, the name of the firm. Number 2, registration number of the firm. Number 3, office telephone number of the firm. Okay, this is the 3 things. And 6.2.2.1.2 adds in another 3. If you are, if let's say, okay, I'm a real estate agent, I'm the one advertising the property, then okay, my name, I Cheng, number 4. Number 5, my mobile number, 0.2, something, something. Number 6, my registration number, E1712, let's say, okay, prominently displayed. Okay, so basically in an advertising, whatever you want to do in advertisements, there must be these 6 things. Number 1, the name of the firm. Number 2, the registration number. Number 3, the office telephone number. Number 4, the name of the agent or the real estate negotiator. Mobile number, of course, that one you definitely need to put it in. And not forgetting your REN number or your E number. Yeah, okay, these are very important points. And no comparative or superlative description of the estate agency practice. I am the best agent in PJ or something like that. No comparative or superlative description. And no claims to be an expert in an area. I, Chanai Cheng, am the expert in properties in Petaling Jaya. No. There's no title in that sense. Because this comes back into the being a professional. You see, a doctor doesn't go out there and claim that he's the best heart surgeon in Malaysia, or for that matter, a lawyer claiming that he is the best lawyer in whatever field that it may be. So there is no claims by a professional firm to be better than his other the other professional estate agent out there. So very importantly, no comparative or superlative description. And the point 4, no claims by the advertiser to be an expert. Having said that, if somebody else says that you are an expert, that's a different matter. Because why? It's no claim by the advertiser. It's not no claim at all. I mean, as in nobody said anything that you're good. No. No claim by the advertiser to be an expert. Okay, and publish information. All right. Okay, so the format ran a little bit, but I gave a quick summary so that it's easier for you to see in one glance what needs to be in an advertisement. I believe that in all your firms, everywhere, I think just post a notice somewhere in your office or to all your chat groups among all your rents and all that, to please remember, have these 6 things. There are just so many complaints that goes to the board with regards to small matters like this. Oh, the RAN forgot to put his RAN number when he advertised, or he forgot to put the firm's office number when he advertised. And for small matters like this, I think we can save a lot of money by just complying with these 6 things. Okay, so unfortunately the layout didn't come out well. Otherwise you could have just snapshot this and use it in your office and make sure that all your agents and all your real estate negotiators know that these are the 6 things required. Okay, when it comes to newspaper advertisement, there's basically, they shorten that 6 things into basically 3 things. yeah, that you need to put in. Your firm registration number, which I highlighted in red, the office telephone number, and the E number. Okay, so, this part didn't come out so well, but in a newspaper advertisement, I wanted to show you that it's very important to have the office phone number, the E number, or the REN number. The E number is being the E number of the company and the REN number. Okay, but my highlight went a little bit off. Apologies for that. So remember, so let's say Damansara Heights, 10,000 square feet built up with basement car park, brand new, selling below cost, 7 million. ABC is the name, handphone number, company's registration number, that person's E number, and the office telephone number. Okay, so that 3 things has got to be there. All right, typical. Oh, this one is also, no, I'll just skip along. Okay, standard number 6, advertising and marketing on another terms. They further added, not written in glowing terms. Yeah, I also mentioned that earlier already. They repeated not misleading. They repeated tasteful. They repeated actual and factual. So it's very important. That's why they keep repeating and repeating. Okay, so sometimes they'll say that, how we know whether what we are writing in the advertisement is correct or not. So this is where 6.2.6 comes in. You can get a written consent of the client that the, sorry, this one is for signboards. Okay, my apologies. There's actually another section, which probably on the next slide, that you can get confirmation from the owner as to whether your advertisement is correct. Okay, that's another way of making sure that you do not advertise something that is wrong. Because we have also received complaints, the board also has received complaints of owners writing and complaining about agents advertising properties information wrongly, or advertising out of their terms of engagement or whatever it is. So be very careful about this. So I think it will be a good thing to actually get the confirmation from the owner based on the information that you have gathered, whether the advertisement content and everything is correct. Okay, now come from 6.2.6. Yeah, the estate agent shall only replace or remove another estate agency's signboard from any property, provided always he has the written consent of the client and has duly communicated this information to the other estate agency firm via a letter. Okay. This one is also another very sensitive thing. You cannot touch another person's signboard. It's just like another person cannot touch your signboard. That is your, that is your property, although it's hung on another person's property, but that asset, that signboard asset, belongs to the person whose name is written on it. So as a professional real estate person, we have to make sure that if, let's say, we have been engaged by the owner as the exclusive agent, it is only right that we communicate with the other agent. It could be a simple call, could be a simple text. Dear so-and-so, I've just been engaged as an exclusive agent for this property, and the owner has requested that my signboard goes up and all other agent signboards come down. Would you mind removing the signboard from the property? That would be the better one, because he would definitely go there and get it back rather than you having to take it down. Okay, and they say via a letter. Well, I believe whether it's communicated in some form of written format somewhere, I think that will be that is also another option for you. Okay, I need to fly quickly along. We come to flyers. Same thing I mentioned so sorry. Okay, so again, the 6 things are name. In this time for flyer is different. They added address as well. So name, address, registration number, office telephone number, name, mobile number, REN number, or E number. So actually, sorry, there should be 7 items because address is their new addition to it. Okay, what's interesting is that this section, 6.2.10.3, every flyer must carry the following terms, right? This whole section has been dropped from the new MEAS. So when you're coming up with a flyer now, you no longer need to put this persons responding to this flyer are not required to pay any estate agency fee whatsoever for properties referred to in this flyer, as this firm is already retained by a particular principal, has been dropped. So you no longer need to put this in your flyers. Okay, I'm actually running out of time. I'll just quickly skim through this. I'll just highlight the difference. So for foreign properties, very important that when agents, when we are working on any foreign properties, we need to get, there must be a couple of things. Number one, you must know the projects you are selling. Okay, the reason why this came about is because sometimes the foreign estate agency firm or the foreign developer basically just engages a local real estate agent just to use his authority to have their presence and marketing in Malaysia. So I think the board here is trying to protect our local real estate firms by making sure that we play a major role, and therefore we get maybe in a way a better rate out of the arrangement that we have with the foreign parties. Okay, so and the good thing, the changes here, the good thing is that in the past, every particular event that you have, you need to write to the board, submit all your particulars, and for every of these cases, you have to pay 1,060 ringgit to get an approval. And that's for every single event that you have. But since the new revision, here it indicates that the moment you get one approval, that approval will last you for 6 months in any location in Malaysia. Okay, so this is actually, for those doing foreign properties, you'll find that this actually provides a huge savings, and it's definitely a more practical approach. Okay, and of course the approval number, don't forget that. And of course the local agent must have due prominence in all advertisements. Okay, and also, although this is not a major item, let me just, although this is not a major item, the minimum fee for overseas marketing, foreign property marketing is been raised from 2% from the previous 1%. But I think we all know that for those who are selling foreign property, the fee is way more than that. Okay, all right. I won't go through this anymore. I'll just let you guys quickly read through. Under 6.3.2, as few words as possible to paint a word picture. That is also very interesting. And yeah, okay. Anyway, these are, I was mentioning 6.3.5 earlier about the firm should consider it worthwhile as a precaution, sending draft particulars to the clients and asking them to advise them urgently if they have any reason to believe that any statement is inaccurate or misleading. Yeah, so this is where the point was taken when I mentioned earlier. Okay, so I've got to stop here already. I've overshot my time by 10 minutes. Thank you.
It's okay. I think we'll leave it or left with 15 minutes for Q&A. Okay, we probably end the session latest by 4. So now we go to Q&A. Okay, question 1 from this Tan Irene. What is the difference between exclusive and sole agency?
Okay, an exclusive agency means that the estate agent is the only, has been engaged exclusively to do that transaction, which means even if the owner were to sell the property themselves, the owner will still need to pay the exclusive agent, because the exclusive agent is in charge of the whole marketing of that particular transaction. For a sole agency, that means the owner and the agent, both of them can market and sell the property. So if the owner himself sells the property by himself, then he need not pay the sole agent. Okay, that's the difference. Mainly is on the fees.
Yeah, I hope this answers Irene Tan. Okay, second question from Adrian Chan. Based on 5.2.10, what if the buyer prefers to deal with me instead of the other agent? If it's the same client for the same property, how to find a solution? That means I think he's referring to ad hoc agent, you know.
Oh, ad hoc agents.
Yeah, ad hoc agent. Okay, the buyer prefers to deal with him instead of the other agent selling the same property.
Okay, this one will be further complicated if the previous agent had also have a viewing form, signed by that same client. It will be further complicated. At the end of the day, I mean, I was told there was two ways around this. One of them said that the deal will go to whoever who collects the check. I've heard of that before. And of course, in terms of, because this is both as ad hoc agents, so actually 5.2.10 is basically for, it's basically when you, 5.2.10 is basically when the client withdraws from the firm, and then the firm have to advise the client that maybe he has to pay 2 fees because of a continuing liability on the client. But if it's non-exclusive, this one will be who collects the check.
Yeah, I think this is the current problem in the practice.
Yeah.
For those ad hoc agencies.
Yeah, I guess ad hoc is like that, but if you're exclusive, it's a different matter.
Yeah, so whoever collects the check, I mean, the buyer could have viewed maybe with 2-3 estate agents or negotiators. So whoever collects the check, I don't know how to solve this.
Yeah.
It's a practice problem. This one is a real practice problem.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 3 comes from Barbara Ngo. Using another property photos to advertise, it is called misrepresentation.
Yes.
If you use another agent's photo to advertise.
No, not another agent. Say use another property. Okay, so let's say you have you are marketing
another
a particular
property
building.
photos. Yes.
Yeah, a particular building. That means all the maybe a condo. So all condos pretty much looks the same, right? So they use the photographs of another unit for that unit for the advertising purpose. I think that is it's
misrepresentation. Yeah, somebody look at it, Yeah. Okay. Question number 4 is Zul Arifin. What about those REN, REA advertised as area specialists in portals? Does this again 6.2.2.1.4 expert?
I think the 6.2.2.1.4 says that you cannot claim to be the expert. That's basically where it ends.
Okay, that means they are going against.
You cannot claim you yourself to be the expert.
Okay, I hope that answers Zul Arifin. Okay, next comes to Max Wong. Max Wong asks, can the EA firm whom been awarded by the press, such as Star, King, or Real Estate Malaysia 2020, use the what title in the advertisement? I mean, it's just like MIA.
No, I mean,
I can just give an example, probably.
Okay. Okay. Basically, you cannot self-claim. That's exactly what MEAS say. But this was an award
given, just like MIA, we give award.
Yeah, so that's a different matter.
So that one you can use to advertise. If you are, let's say, Real Estate Agent of the Year, you can use that to advertise.
Yep.
Okay, I hope that answers Max Wong's question. Next is Wong Lai Kwong. Due to the limitation of space in the banner, can a QR code be used in lieu of having the address of the estate agency printed on the banner?
Wow, I don't think the estate agency address don't have to be printed on the banner.
Not the address.
Not the signboard and the banner. It's only on the flyer.
Yeah.
But yes, QR codes are good to use, but it does. But unfortunately, the MEAS has not provided for QR codes yet. But I'm sure in the new revision, the next one, this will be something interesting brought up.
Include a QR code.
Yeah, we're going to modernize.
Yeah, but for banner, things signboards, you probably use handphone and office phone numbers.
Yes.
You don't need
for flyers only, you need to add in the address. Flyers.
Signboard.
Signboard, no mention.
No mention. Okay, this one came from Julia Cole. Any guidelines and safety measure for REN after MCO? I don't know what does this mean. Any guidelines for safety measure? Any guidelines and safety measure for REN after MCO?
I think this perhaps this question we have to address under another forum.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking
MEAS,
about guidelines.
Okay. Anyway.
This is only related to MEAS. Benson Ting asks, in rental cases, most of the time commercial landlords, office, warehouse, factory, does not even entertain the fee structure outlined and provided herewith by the board, especially for longer term lease. That means 3 + 3 + 3 years. What should we do in such cases? It's like the fee structures outlined by the board does not even hold ground, and landlords decide how much they want to pay.
Yeah, this one comes back to the negotiation. Of course, it also comes back to the client, and also you have to negotiate for your fees, I mean, what the board can do is provide the guidelines as to the fees. that we are allowed to charge. But finally, if the client say, oh, no, I only want to pay you this amount, then it's up to the individual negotiator and agent to negotiate our own fees this is
commercial decision.
Correct.
Commercial.
So of course I understand that this is a challenge especially for this type of property. It is a challenge, but perhaps but I have also seen, having said that, I have also seen agents and negotiators alike, they have managed to secure the full rental fee. I was also very surprised, and this came from very big firms. Very big property owners, developers for the matter, and they paid the full fee for the rental of their properties, which I was also very surprised, but it can happen. So I think this one really requires a lot of negotiation, I can say, and also maybe time. Over time.
Depending on circumstances.
Depending on circumstances. And
whether landlord,
but I have seen
landlord,
but I have seen
landlord or not.
But I have seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay, next question comes from Adrian Chan. Can any REN sells foreign properties directly engaged by the foreign developer?
Okay, it's very important that the foreign developer must engage a firm, not engage an individual, because only the firm can apply to the board to get the approval number.
Yeah.
So no, you cannot be appointed as an individual real estate negotiator to sell for the foreign developer and charge him a fee. Yeah, I think that's what you mean, right? I think that's what the question means.
Yeah, hope this answer Adrian Chan. Next comes from Irene Tan again. What is the PF for foreign properties? I think she's referring to professional fee.
Professional fee. Okay, in the standards I mentioned earlier, they revised it from the minimum of 1% to 2%. But seriously, in the market, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, the guideline is just a minimum. You can charge more.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next comes from Pauline Wong. Dear Miss Ai Cheng, in the MEAS standard on page 28, the last stipulated terms on flyers stop at 6.2.7.2.2. Are there missing terms? 6.27.2.2.
Yeah, I think you could be referring to the persons responding to this flyer, right?
The name, the mobile number, and REN of the registered REN or resident.
So not to worry about that. That basically in the flyers, you just have to remember the 7 things only. There's no longer a requirement for you to put that disclaimer. No more already. The persons responding to this flyer dropped it. So that's why it looks incomplete. But yes, that's all is required for flyers.
Yeah, that disclaimer has been dropped. Yeah, the disclaimer has been dropped in the new MEAS. Okay, next come from Kok Peng Choi. If agency A sign exclusive with owner, 2 months later, the owner send a termination letter to agency A and sign another exclusive agency letter with agency B, as agency B has a ready buyer. Can agency A collect professional fee from owner? I think it depends on the exclusive appointment terms.
But actually, by right, an exclusive appointment cannot be terminated without a proper justification. So this is a bit hypothetical. We do not know what the actual scenario, but normally if the firm is engaged for 3 months, it's 3 months. There is no, unless for some serious offense that you have made, that appointment should not be terminated. It's not just terminate anybody want to just terminate it like that. Then what's the point of exclusive? If today I appoint you, tomorrow I say I don't want to appoint you. No. Exclusive agency appointment, engagement, it's more powerful than you think. So I think you might want to go back and read your exclusive appointment before the owner can just terminate you like that. Unless you did something really wrong, then I cannot say anything. But if all else is as what you have said, I think you better read your the engagement. It shouldn't be so easily terminated.
Yeah, but what Kok Peng Choi wants to know is can agency A collect professional fee from the owner before expiry, but probably terminated?
If the client was introduced to him during the 2 months, yes.
But what about, subsequently, you give me an appointment for 3 months, then 2 months later, you terminate my appointment. illegal termination or maybe illegal termination. So there's the legality part of the
the legality part.
Yeah, whether you can claim your professional fee. Because agency B now have a buyer, probably have bought the property.
Yeah, it goes back to what I said earlier about the coming out of an exclusive engagement. It's not so simple. Your contract with the contract with your client under exclusive is different from ad hoc. You cannot just walk in and out of it. So I think you might want to be more, you might want to speak to the owner again with regards to the termination, because you cannot be terminated just like that. If not, what's the purpose of an exclusive engagement?
Yeah, true. Okay, next we move to next question, Chia Kam Hong. In the 7th schedule of the Act for estate agency fees, there is an item called rent review. Does it mean if the tenancy is renewed for a fresh term, the agent is entitled to another 50% commission of the rental?
Okay.
50% fee.
There is a provision in the 7th schedule for the rent review. That means, okay, let's say it's a 3 plus 2 or whatever. So after the 3 years, right, then there's the plus 2. So if you renegotiated for a renewal for that plus 2 or plus 3 and a new terms and all that, you are entitled to 50% professional fees of the rental negotiated. However, you must make sure that this is specified in your engagement letter. That means when the client engaged you the time and when you close the rental, you must make sure that this clause is indicated in there so that you can claim it later. So this one is something you got to do today for benefit 3 years later.
We're actually running short of time.
Yeah,
Hopefully
so I think we
got to wrap up by 4 o'clock.
Okay,
we answer one last question. Let me see, one last one from Kamal Achu. Photos of agents are quite prevalent on advertisement signboard. Etc. Is it allowed? Photos of
I believe we had the case of we had one of this brought up during one of our EAPC meeting at the board level, where a negotiator put the photo together with the banner and everything, and at the end the board actually felt that the photo actually shows that the agent is more real, the real estate negotiator is more real. His rent number was there, his phone number was there. It was so much easier to verify who that person was immediately because of his face, his phone number, his REN number. So I think, yes, I believe, but of course it cannot be bigger than the signboard, as in unproportionately, is he promoting himself or the property for sale? So I think it must be tastefully done. Yeah.
Okay, I hope that answer. I think your topic is always very hot with a lot of questions.
Yeah, but I've got to find the time to answer them.
So I hope Secretariat can pick it up. Maybe we'll answer them later, one by one.
Yeah. So sorry, I went a bit over time because I was supposed to, because it's so hard to finish two standard in 1.5 an hour session. So that's why I was rushing towards the end. My apologies.
So we have to wrap up the whole session now. It's 4 o'clock, close to 4 o'clock now. So we have about 200 participants, and we'd like to thank you all the participants for attending this session. And also we'd like to thanks the speaker, I think, very informative, very easy to understand the way you share your paper. Thank you very much. I couldn't summarize the whole thing. I think we run short of time. Okay, so we'll see you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
Thanks.